Hello everyone, Caren Glasser here, and welcome to this episode of The Little White Lie. This is the movement where we encourage you to love the age that you're in. Each week I invite my guests to share their stories and their expertise and their tools and their tips and their strategies and how we can embrace our very best authentic self and to say yes to embracing our little white lie. So if you're here on replay, I'm delighted you're here on replay. Make sure that you comment below because we want to hear from you, and we'll make sure that we go in and answer the questions and comment. My guest as well, John Tarnoff, and we'll be inviting him in just a second. And if you're liking the show, go ahead and share it. Click the little share button, send it off to whomever you want to share it with, and invite them to join us on the show. And as I do every single week, I do my reveal. So today, here is my reveal. Yes, it's growing out and I'm loving it. I'm still loving it. For those of you, I get emails and messages. So how's the transition going? It's going great. I love it. Let's make sure that we connect on the site, littlewhitelie.com, thelittlewhitelie.com. It's up there on the screen. And when you comment in the post down there, make sure to use the hashtag Little White Lie, so that I can follow you on social media, and we can just put that into search and all of your comments will come up in one place. So without further ado, it's time for me to talk about the topic and invite our guest in. Today we're talking about retirement. Retirement. And we asked the question, is retirement the very best thing that can happen to you? I don't know. Is it? Let's find out. I invite my guest, John Tarnoff, in. He is the author of the best-selling book, Boomer Reinvention, How to Create Your Dream Career Over 50. He is a repeat visitor because we loved him so much the first time. We're bringing him back. John, I just love what you have to say. We're just going to go ahead and invite you in, but I have a question for you. Can you tell us what your little white lie is? Do you have a little white lie?
My little white lie? Oh, God. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that, but I'm sure I can come up with a doozy.
I'm sure you can.
I will take that under advisement because I think that transparency is the watchword of our age.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. So let's just jump right in. Let's talk about retirement. Okay, is retirement the best thing in the world, or not so much?
I think you kind of know my answer because I suppose you could call me an anti-retirement advocate. And I just think that retirement is an outdated concept. And, even just when you think about the meaning of the word retirement, I mean, why in this day and age, particularly for our generation, would anyone want to retire, to go to sleep, to separate ourselves, to kind of sequester ourselves off in some strange, prison is the word that comes to mind, where we're no longer engaged in our lives. There is so much amazing stuff happening. I feel, quote unquote, younger, and this gets into a whole ageist conversation.
Right.
But I certainly feel more engaged, more vital, more curious, more appreciative of life at this point. I'm 65, so I should be thinking about retirement. I mean, oh God, this is going to be a bit of a stream of consciousness conversation.
Okay.
There's so many messages about what we should be thinking about at this age. Right. We were raised at a time when retirement was this kind of natural outgrowth of getting a good education, having a good career, and then you kind of got to sail off and I don't know, do nothing, have fun, go on cruises, play golf. I don't play golf personally. I'm not a big fan of cruises. I don't really trust how they prepare their food. So I've got a lot of other things that I want to do. I want to continue to earn a living. And most of us, if you read the statistics, need to continue to earn a living because we've undersaved for retirement. We have aging parents who are living longer and need more health care. We have grown millennial children who are in 30% of the cases still living at home and are slow to launch. So why are people telling us that we're done?
Well, it's so interesting. So I totally resonate with what you're saying. My husband is a little bit older than I'm 60, so I'm not that much behind you. My husband is 72. He's going to be retiring, but he likes to say he's semi-retiring because he doesn't want to retire.
Right.
He wants to move on to the next best part of his life, and so he's
Yes.
already got plans. It's, cruises are nice. I do eat food on the cruise, by the way. Just want to let you know. Uh,
Good.
but,
I hope
and
you're okay.
I've actually said that I wanted to retire, but I didn't really mean in the sense of the word that I wanted to just stop everything that I was
Right.
doing. It's more moving on to the next
Well, you
part of
want to
my life.
reinvent.
Reinvent, exactly. And I want to put your book up right now, because
Thank you.
you wrote this amazing book called Boomer Reinvention, and it really is about reinventing ourselves. We're not just not retirementing ourselves, we're reinventing ourselves,
Right.
right?
And I also think that, I've had a lot of discussion about this
Mm-hmm.
this term reinvention. And one of my dear friends is a guy named Mark Friedman who founded and runs Encore.org, which is a phenomenal nonprofit that seeks to put older professionals into nonprofits and
Mm-hmm.
to social good, and has a really phenomenal program right now about bringing generations together in this intergenerational future that we're all trying to create. And he and I initially connected over this word reinvention, and he had written an article which I took issue with about the idea that the word reinvention is it's just wrong, that
Right.
it's too tough to do, that there is so much kind of flippant conversation in the culture today and in the press about, oh, look who's reinvented themselves. And it's just kind of
Right.
like turning on a dime and you have a whole new life and isn't everything
Just
wonderful?
like that.
When in reality, it's tough. It's tough
It
to
is.
make that switch. And I agree. So reinvention is not for the faint of heart. But at the same time, I think that reimagining your life doesn't actually get anything done because you're stuck in your imagination. Oh, I could do that. I could do this. But
Right.
how do you actually make the change? How do
Right.
you actually make the pivot? What are the techniques? What are the tools? What are the practices that you need to adopt in order to change your life around, in order to continue
Right.
to earn an income, in order to either save the job that you have or figure out a better job that you could actually pivot to in your 50s or 60s? That requires some work. It requires some thought, some planning, some research, some
Right.
interaction with people. So I put the book together really to promote the idea that there is a future for us that is an active, engaged future, and here's how to do it.
So you mentioned something. You said one of the things about retirement is that a lot of people can't afford to retire, right? I mean, they even if they wanted to, whatever that looked like in the
Yeah.
future, they can't afford to, because have boomers actually saved enough? And
Well,
what are the challenges around that?
statistically, we haven't saved enough. And, there's a lot of conversation out there about, why we did this and how feckless we are and how selfish we are as a generation. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to kind of wade into that conversation and try to defend us up and down. Yeah, we may have made some mistakes. And I think there are some reasons for why we did this, and I think there were some messages that we were sold by the financial services establishment about how everything was going to be okay, and we could just remortgage our houses continuously and use our credit cards like a piggy bank, and et cetera, et cetera. And now we find ourselves in this situation where the chain has kind of been jerked back. So we find ourselves in this situation, but I think the good news is that rather than go, okay, I made a mistake, take care of me, society, Social Security, pension plan, whatever, social safety net, we need to take responsibility and create a sustainable ongoing career for ourselves that we can then work with as long as we want to work, as long as we're healthy enough to work, etc.
So we have a comment from Nancy Ferrari who says she's not going out to pasture. The second phase of amazing possibilities await. Here, here. I think that's awesome. I would
That's right.
totally agree with you. And she also has the hashtag retirement rocks. So,
Huh.
so interesting. Nancy, I'm going to actually call you on that because you just told us that retirement rocks, but you're not going out to pasture. The second phase of your life is going to be even better. Curious
I
to
would,
hear.
Nancy, I would invite you to rephrase that hashtag as reinvention rocks, please.
There you go. I love that. Totally love
Because
that.
retirement, I have to say, retirement does not rock. The idea of kind of disconnecting yourself from life, from career, from other people, from people in younger generations who've got a lot to contribute to your life. I mean, why would you do that, right? Why would you separate yourself?
So I guess the question begs to be asked then, how do we reframe that whole retirement/reinvention in our minds as we age? And this is what it's all about. This is what the little white lie is all about. Mm-hmm. As we age, how do we reframe these things in our head instead of saying we're retiring or reinventing ourselves? How do we take that next step to live our best life as boomers or whatever age we're at?
Right. Well, I think, first of all, we're having kind of a condensed conversation here, but I think we all have to get rid of the labels, and right. And it's really not about retirement or reinvention or reimagination or reconfiguration or whatever the word is that we want. I think we have to be clear and specific about what it is that we want to do and the lifestyle that we want to live. So it really is, back to my plan, the way I see it. The future that you want is inside you. The job, the semi-retired job, whatever you want to call it, the activity that you want to pursue, whether you're doing this because you want to earn money or need to earn money, or because you want to stay engaged, or because you have a cause or a purpose that you want to fulfill. All of that is inside you, and the important thing to do at this stage in life is to figure out what that is and really what your priorities are around that, and put a plan together for how you're going to go from where you are now, which may include a full-time job. It may be that you've just been downsized from a job and you're trying to get yourself back on your feet. Whatever your situation is, there's a plan there. There's a plan there to create the life that you want, because you're going to be around for a while now. The stat is that about a third of people who are 65 years old today are going to make it past 90. So those are pretty good odds, and the odds are just getting better. The older you get, the older you're going to get, right?
Yeah, and I believe that. My folks are still alive, and 81 and 83, they're both still working full time.
Amazing.
How amazing is that? And I mean, so I come from good stock, and I plan on I'm going into my next life at this point at 60. I fully intend on living at least to 90.
Right.
Whoever's up there listening to that, that is definitely my intent. Let me throw up some comments. What is retirement? So Roy says retirement, it's a noun, the action or fact of leaving one's job and ceasing to work. That is the actual definition of retirement. Interesting. And so Nancy did take your advice, and she has Reinvention Rocks. Awesome.
Hey.
That's great. I'm putting also one up from Betty Ann. Yes, no labels, because those things change during our lives. I want to do certain things now, and I suspect I'll want something different 2 years, 10 years from now.
Exactly.
That takes planning. I agree as well. So this is great.
The other thing I think that the Betty Ann brings up, which I think is really important, is this idea that our ideas change over time, and we are not the same people that we were at 20 or 40, and all of the cumulative experiences that we've had, whether they are in work or in life, have a result. And so I caution people who are looking to pivot to their second act career, who have a long-held hobby or a frustration, or maybe they quit school to raise a family and now they want to go back and complete their degree. That may be a good plan, but I also caution people to take a inventory of where they are now and what is really important to them now, as opposed to what was important when you were in your 20s, and make the plan based on today, not on the past.
Good advice. Good advice. I'm throwing one more comment up from Michael Arlen. Corporate America does not want people over 45, and the gig economy takes advantage of human resources. Demographically, the workforce will eventually need baby boomers who have experiences or skills.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. I agree. The math actually is in our favor, and corporate America is really behind the curve. There are so many studies out there and increasing research to support the idea that older workers provide incredible value in the workplace. Not that we are better necessarily than younger generations. I think we have to watch our attitude about that and the reverse ageism that we can tend to inflict on younger generations. We all have to work together. There's great things that we can learn from millennials and Gen Xers, and there's great things that they can learn from us. We all need to be working together. And I think that increasingly, for sound economic reasons, corporate America is going to realize that it makes more sense to keep us around, keep us employed.
Right.
And if we're employed, then we're making money, then we're spending money, then we're not a drag on the economy. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. So, for our viewers that are wondering, how do they get in touch with you? They can go over to johntarnoff.com. I'm going to put a link to your book actually in the status for those of you who want to go ahead and just get this book. You should. It's really awesome. I've read it cover to cover. You really should pick up a copy. I'm going to show just a few more comments because why not? April Roga says, I think no matter what we call it, we should always pursue our passion no matter our age. Amen. And Michael, in response to your comments, John, on his first comments, we need to make our own opportunities.
That's absolutely right. We need to take 100% responsibility for it. And you know what? Some great stats on this. Of course, Kaufman Foundation that focuses on entrepreneurship, and they've been saying this for years, older entrepreneurs, over 40, over 50, are twice as likely to succeed in starting new businesses as younger entrepreneurs.
Really?
Yeah, and it's obvious, right? We have more experience, we have life experience, we have work experience, we can see the problems coming. The other thing which I think is interesting, I read this statistic recently, is that in a survey of individuals from 55 to 65, I think it actually may have gone up higher. 80% of them, 80% of people who were forced to reinvent their careers, 80% of them deemed those reinventions successful. So if you are concerned that at this advanced age, you don't have the chops to do it, or you're too tired, or you don't know what you would do, or it's an ageist society, so why bother? Truth is that you are 80% likely to be successful and happy about the decision that you made.
I love that. That's good news. I think that's really good news. It's great news. So again, I'm going to put your website up just again for those people who didn't write it down. Keep on, write it down, go click on it, and then go check it out. And I'll put the link to the book up in the top as well. And for those of you who have not yet visited thelittlewhitelie.com, why not? Go visit it. There's a bunch of amazing shows over there. And we're following this journey of people who are literally loving the age that they're in, no matter what the age is. And, we've gotten a lot of comments from people that are writing in, both, that they're 100% behind what we're doing and then questioning, are we telling people what they're supposed to do? No, we're not. We are actually requesting and suggesting strongly that you do what makes you happy, not what somebody else tells you to do, no matter what age you're in. Go tackle that little white lie, whatever it might be. John, I am just delighted that you came and visited us again. You will be back often, I'm sure. Always so much fun. Go ahead and make sure that you hashtag little white lie when you're commenting and send it out to the universe. Make sure you comment down below. John and I will both go back in there and make sure we respond to you. And we want to thank you because we know that you have a choice as to where you spend your time, and we want to thank you for spending it with us today. We'll see you next time on the next episode of The Little White Lie. Goodbye, everyone.